Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, everybody, welcome. Welcome to the show. I've got a really great show for all of you today. So listen. You've been hearing me and Lou Paradise kind of talking a little bit about something we discovered. And, we've been talking about it a little bit because, as you know, with both Lou and with me, is we don't like to introduce this fabulous 15-year audience to anything new unless we've actually tried something ourselves and have taken that something and seen the kind of results that people say we're going to get from it. Today, because for me personally, not only have I seen great results for myself, but as somebody that watches my medical condition month to month to month to month, including my blood work and what the blood work looks like, I'm able to now talk with you about what my own story of strength and hope is about. And the other part of this is I wanted to bring somebody on that could give us a story about where things were, what happens when you bring something new to the public, what you do to adjust in it, and how what we're going to be talking with you about today can present you with not just a new essence of who you are, your body, your physical nature, your mental state. But more importantly, for those of you out there that know what it's like to struggle from paycheck to paycheck, or even if you're not struggling from paycheck to paycheck, you really want to find a way to step out into the world, do something you love, and reap the benefit financially from it. And so what better way for us to talk about that and the discovery that I made, thanks to my friend and colleague, Lou Paradise, who knows a lot about what it means to develop holistic products that work. Today, I want to introduce all of you to another friend and colleague of mine, Joe Juliano. And the reason I want to introduce you to Joe is because we're going to take you on this journey of what it's like. And many of you have heard me talk about Genius HGH. Yes, I actually did grab that domain name because I do believe it is genius what you're going to hear today. For somebody like me who was asked to go purchase HGH 10 years ago at a ridiculous rate when that particular hormone was only available to a select few people that could afford anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 a month, my answer was no. But because that was recommended to me, I know the benefits of it. Today, Joe is going to take you on a journey of how this company began, what the first year was like, what absolutely HGH is and isn't, and why now we're talking about something for everybody out there that is safe, that you use, and that you can get excited about. Joe, it's great to have you on the show today.
Oh, Dr. Pat, thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to be here and speak with you about our wonderful product and all the things that you're talking about. This is great. So thank you.
Yeah, let's start at the beginning because you and I are both business people. Folks don't know that about me, right? They don't know that I spent 25 years in corporate America, right? I learned a few things.
Yes.
But let's talk about this, from an absolute business possibility, but from a company point of view. Let's talk a little bit about the company and the growth and evolution. And I want to say two things before you start. I've seen a lot of companies that introduce phenomenal products have so many rough starts and not be able to recover from it. because mainly what the company is about doesn't match what they say is going to happen. What I've seen happen with what you're about to say, not only do the results match, but people are benefiting, and the company itself has been so responsive in making changes. For a new company, that's unprecedented. What do you think?
Well, I think it's awesome, and I think you're speaking the truth, because we have been through a lot, and being through so many different situations in our first year of business while we were experiencing record-breaking growth. It's amazing that we came out on the other side, but that shows something about our character and our culture, because, my motto is, Dr. Pat, if you focus on people, you don't have to worry about anything, whether you're, worried about, shareholders or money or the bottom line. You can't focus on those things. You have to focus on people. And when you do, the company started on November 27th of 2017.
Wow.
And 8 months prior to that, Dr. Pat, I had about 200 people on the product. And, when I heard about it, the statement itself was compelling. Like you spoke about 10 years ago, hearing about human growth hormone therapy by getting injections. And actually, it can go anywhere up to $7,000 a month. Some people get 3 injections a day. It can get pretty expensive. So most people, even if they can afford it, they can't withstand the inconvenience, the aggravation, the expense, the pain, all of those things. So I was introduced to this man named Alex Goldstein, and I wanted to meet him so bad, Dr. Pat, because 18 years ago, I was flying on an airplane. I got to show you this. It's really close. Okay, I'm going to turn this.
No, please.
I was flying on an airplane, and I was reading an article about HGH, okay? There it is. Choose life, grow young with HGH. I tore this out of Airplane magazine 18 years prior to someone calling me and saying, hey, I want to introduce you to a guy who has the only transdermal HGH product available without a prescription, and it's registered with the FDA as an over-the-counter homeopathic drug. Now, that was so compelling to me in so many different ways, and I knew what HGH was. I knew they considered it the fountain of youth. I know that it's considered the healing hormone, all these things, Dr. Pat. I got so darn excited. I said, I want to meet this guy. And when I met him, this is where I learned his character. He wasn't, I was being looked at as becoming the master distributor of the company, which means my role is to grow a sales force nationally and internationally to distribute this product to the world. That would be my role.
Yeah.
It was amazing, though, when I got on the darn phone with him, he was more interested in telling me on how the product affects people and its efficacy than, Joe, how many people are you going to deliver to me this first year, second year, fifth year? It was pretty amazing, Dr. Pat. And that was the beginning of New You Life, because Alex was about 95% there. He wasn't all the way there on going MLM or network marketing or word of mouth, whatever people call it. He was about 95% of the way there. And I thought, my goodness, this guy's so smart. How am I going to get him to crack over that last 5% and get him to be at 100? And what I did, Dr. Pat, I used the oldest cliche in the home-based business industry, and that cliche is stories sell and facts tell. So I asked Alex if it would be okay if I could put, 100 of my contacts on the product. And he said, yeah. He gave everybody a discount. We got the product in their hand. About 60 days later, we met back on another conference call. We had the first one to explain how to use it, what it was. Then we came back for the second one, Dr. Pat, and it was so compelling. Testimonials in just 2 months that Alex made the final decision right there. You could tell it affected him emotionally. And he said, Joe, the decision's been made. We're going to start putting the company together right now. So it was a blessing, Dr. Pat. That's how it all started. If you want me to tell you some of the crazy things that happened to me.
Yeah, what? Let's talk crazy, because I know, like, when I started this Positive Talk Network, right? If you go back 15 years and I came out of the gate after dialing the wrong phone number and I said to folks, man, I'm going to do this show. And I didn't know that we were going to have a network. I said, I'm going to do this show and we're going to do it all on Positive Talk. We're going to talk about everything from sex to spirituality, but it's how we talk about it and what we provide. Most people looked at us and said, you know what, we give you about 15 minutes, let alone 15 years. But you start out because you know inside that there's something so right about what you're doing. But the craziness of that and the stories that come from that are part of your journey, Joe, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But let's talk about the crazy that some of us have to go through in order to bring, we know is going to be transformative to the public, because I've pretty much been called everything on the planet, right? In terms of Positive Talk. By the way, within 6 months, that one show 15 years ago that wasn't even called the Dr. Pat Show will now become the largest Positive Talk network in the world, with 10 unique channels developed and driven by a technology that this team is building to reach 100 channels, every word you speak. And people said we couldn't do it, but we're not broadcast people, just like you. We're people that are committed to the health and well-being of humanity. Isn't that really why we tell these stories?
I think it is, Dr. Pat. That's why we tell the story. I remember back 2 weeks after we started, I had this chilling issue that came up where Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank was after the product. He was after Alex. And listen, I only knew Alex for about 8 or 9 months. I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to compete with that? Dr. Pat, do you know that Alex told Kevin Harrington, from the original creator of Shark Tank, no, I've committed to this guy named Joe Juliano and the United States and people all over the world in word of mouth marketing and New You Life. And we continued on New You Life. It wasn't a month later when we lost our credit card processing and we only had one customer service agent, and that was our finance lady, Vicky. Well, I served my wife, Leah. Lee became a customer service agent, and Lee and Vicky for the next 45 days took all the orders over the phone. And wouldn't you know it, Alex stepped up to the plate. Now, we had no money coming in, Dr. Pat.
Right.
Stage here. There's no way to take credit card in, and put it in the system and get payment. Alex sent out every 1-pack, 4-pack, and 8-pack of gel that when people get started, they choose a pack. He sent out every auto ship from the previous month of December and November, and he paid everyone. For the next 45 days, he spent about $285,000 of his own money. I was like, oh my gosh. And then as May hit, we were growing so fast. We had like 16,000 back orders. So Alex says, no more back orders. No longer are we going to take money. And, when we don't have products. So we stopped doing that. Now, we did take $59 enrollments, and we allowed people to get positioned. Over a 3-month period of time, Dr. Pat, we exploded. In August, I think we brought on almost 20,000 people. Now, remember, we're a company. We're only like 9 months old, all right? So in August, the product came back. We fulfilled all the back orders. We took care of all the people from June, July, and August, and we had our first $10 million month. September, we had another $10 or $11 million month. And then October and then November. It was amazing that we came out of it, filled all the departments. I think we now have like 45 customer service agents. We have all the different department heads filled with employees. And it is truly amazing that not only are we still here, Dr. Pat, we are stronger than ever and able to take care of people in a professional manner, the way that business is supposed to be done. So
I love this. Joe, let me tell you why I love this here. And I'm so excited to talk with you today. Thank you for coming on the show. And we're going to tell people about the product we're talking about. For those of you out there that I know many of you are listening to the show, you can find out so much about this in a number of ways. But yeah, you can go to geniushdh.com and you can find out about what we're talking about. But here's what I want to say about this. It took me a while to become part of the team. And the reason it took me a while, Joe, so you know, is I do not participate in very, very many of these at all, because in a 15-year period, I'm very loyal to our listeners that have been with us since day one. So I said to Lou, I said, I got to try it, Lou, and I got to try it for like a bunch of months. I said, you know, I trust you and I believe you, but I have to find the effects for me, for myself. I have to do that. And so part of my journey was using just putting the gel on. I put the gel on, but I didn't even do it the way Lou said. I mean, I only like once a day, put it on, blah, blah, blah. But here's what I know. And during this show, I'm going to post a picture. Many people can see me now, but I'm going to post a picture from about 4 months ago because I want people to see this. But more importantly, what is unexplainable to all of my doctors is why my blood work changed. I don't know the answer, but there's nothing else I did but this, right?
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say, and I hope you can explain this when we come back from break. I started to play a sport that I loved a number of months ago. I started to play. I've been slowly getting back to playing. So I could play this sport, very aggressive sport, maybe an hour or two. Yesterday, I played nonstop for 5 hours after my work day. Why? I don't know, but I want to say this before we go to break. July 11th of 2013, one of the few articles that go back that far from a scientific perspective, published in the magazine of News Medical Life Sciences, pointed to a new study back in 13 about a different version of human growth hormone. And what this study pointed out was very kind of quietly and calmly that what the research found back then, not for the injections, hello, no, what it found out, and they reference this, reducing wrinkles, looking younger, feeling better, building muscle. Why did they say that? Take a short break. I'm not going to answer this. I'm putting Joe on the hot seat. We'll be right back. Today, the light of quantum consciousness and much more with my very special friend, Mark Anthony. Mark, it's great to have you.
Thank you, Dr. Pat. I always enjoy working with you, and I think Transformation Radio Network is absolutely the most enlightened voice on the airwaves.
Wow, thank you. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm really thrilled to have Joe Juliano joining me here today because many of you heard me talk about the gel, right? I call it Genius Gel, but whatever you want to call it is something that I found interesting. And the reason I was excited about this, Joe, is because a bunch of years back, as women, we found the risk of taking hormones for women, right? Let's maybe just call it that, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's postmenopausal, whatever those are. But back in the day, the way that they gave them to us was through birth control pills and a bunch of other things. Now, we now have found out that's not so good. So my doctor, is compound. So what we've discovered about addressing hormones through the skin is one, they work. Bioidentical hormones for women, they work. They work and they're safe. So here we are now talking about HGH, human growth hormone, applied the same way. And yet we have so many skeptics wanting to tell us they don't work. Well, wait a minute. Why do these bioidentical hormones work? And why wouldn't this work? So here's what I want to say. They work. And the reason there's so much resistance is because the market share for those $5,000 injections, that's pretty much going to go away. So look, here we are. Let's talk about what I said about that article that came out. I've done a lot of research and looked at what people are saying. And so how is it that this is not only true, but I'm only touching upon the benefits today?
Well, I'm not a doctor or a scientist. I can do a few things that I've noticed myself, not just my own results and how it's changed my wife's life. My wife was in a hormonal spiral. She had a total hysterectomy 3 years ago, Dr. Pat. This product changed her life. It's brought my wife back to me. It's made her who she was. So, HGH is responsible for how we look, how we act, how we feel, how we recuperate, so many things. I mean, so many doctors refer to HGH as the healing hormone. A couple of the things that I look at is we have over 800 doctors that have joined our company. Most of them are medical doctors. Normally in the industry of network marketing, you have a lot of naturopaths or homeopaths and chiropractors that join network marketing companies. Well, we've had those, but the bulk of our doctors are medical doctors.
Right.
That's different, isn't it?
Right.
That's because of the allure of the product. Well, a lot of the doctors, we have them on our calls. They check their blood, Dr. Pat. They have proof that their IGF-1 levels are increasing. Okay. And what they love about it is it's a gradual increase. It's not this spike like what happens when an individual uses injections.
Right.
Anything is unhealthy. So that's one of the things. And then, just a little sidebar to one of the doctors. One of them is Julian Gershon. He's a hormonal specialist doctor, a medical doctor in the state of Colorado. And I was present when he said that, he'd been taking injections on and off for 13 years. And because of the gel, he's no longer taking injections. He's using the gel. He's one of the medical doctors that has been monitoring his IGF-1 levels and how they increase. So, we now have so many doctors that are interested in this product that they're starting to share the information that they're compiling. Not to mention, Dr. Pat, we now probably have close to 175,000 people on the product. So I hate to be so as a matter of fact, but for goodness sakes, if the product wasn't working, in a fantasy world, when I started the company, when we started the company, our first year, I thought, hopefully we'll put 20,000 people in, not 130,000 our first year. And now we're up to like 160, 170,000. So that's how I know it works, how it's worked on me, what's happening with the medical doctors, and just overall the numbers and the stories on what's occurring.
Yeah. You know what I love about this is, for me, I really need to get educated. I love that story. And my story is no different. When I think about myself and where I was, like in October, let's say, right? In September,
Yeah.
October, uh, the idea, and by the way, I play competitive table tennis. So many people call it ping pong, right? Okay, it's ping pong generally for everybody on the planet. But when you hit a ball at 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, that is different, right?
Yeah.
So the notion of me, I'm thinking about this from yesterday, right? Because I played last night.
5 hours.
And I went early. So I decided I was going to go early, right? And I thought, I'm going to go early. I'm usually good to 5:30. I'm going to go home. At 6:30, I found myself playing doubles with the best players in the group.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, how is that even possible? And I have a disclosure. I didn't eat anything all day yesterday because I didn't even think to eat. I don't even know. I ran out of time and I was so excited to be there. But that's not the only thing I want to talk with you about. I am concerned. Being homeless at one point in time in my life, I know what it's like not to have enough. I come from a very poor look. When on my 11th birthday, my mom was arrested for shoplifting from my birthday gift. Folks, don't worry about it. I've done a lot of healing around that. But I know what it's like to beg for money. And I've watched what folks went through during 2006, 7, 8, 9. That was horrible. Some of my best friends ended up homeless on the streets in Sacramento. So I'm not here just interested in talking with you about the benefits, because we're going to talk about that. I want to encourage people to take their lives and their financial wellness in their own hands. But you have to be excited about what you're doing to do that. How does the gel excite you? What are the stories people saying and telling you about it, about the results, and also about the conversations they're having with other people?
Well, I mean, we have these two secret Facebook groups, Dr. Pat, and they're up to over like 300,000 testimonials. So people get excited when they feel better. I mean, like you're going to post your picture, and I know you look a whole lot younger, now than when you're going to show this picture from when it was taken. That is exciting to people. I can't tell you how excited my wife is when her hair stopped falling out and her color started coming back and her eyebrows and her eyelashes started coming back and the color was in them and the wrinkles in her skin went away. She was going crazy. She was telling everyone. So because of these stories, Dr. Pat, people are they're invigorated. They are motivated to join this, and they say, I can do this because my industry, let's face it, there's a lot of companies that are great companies, but there's a lot of the same products. That's why I left the industry in 2015 for a couple of years. But when I heard about the gel, like I said, it was so compelling. I had to look, I had to try. And like you, I was pleasantly surprised. And I thought, we can change people's lives. If there's two things that I love, is working with people and loving on people in this industry, because Dr. Pat, it's all internal. Okay, we see the external part of a person. Like you said, some of your friends ended up on the street in Sacramento from the crash in 2008. Well, that's when people look at them, they're seeing the external, but they don't know what's on the inside, the internal of that person. That's what I specialize in. I love grabbing a hold of somebody, and if they have just a little bit of courage and a little bit of vision of helping themselves be self-sufficient financially with this product, it becomes a reality, Dr. Pat. But what happens is we compress time. There's never been an industry like network marketing, and I don't believe there's ever been a company like New You Life with the gel, because when you can compress that time, when I say that, what I mean is an individual that doesn't have a depth of knowledge or education of business or investment can get involved, and in a short period of time make more money in a month or a week than some people make in a year. And that has become a reality for so many people in New You Life. I think now we have over 500 people in the CAR program. Dr. Pat, that doesn't happen to companies for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this, and I love research, and that the reason I love talking with you is you and I are passionate about stuff. But, for me, I really like to dig deep. So I came across an article that goes back, a research. This is actually a real study, right? This is a double-blind random study back in 1990. Here's what I love about this. A lot of the headlines come out and they say, blah, 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 human growth hormone, but it doesn't really demonstrate anti-aging. But here's what they say. This is why I love, this is the craziness of the way we talk about stuff. So here's a study, right, with folks over 60, right? Hold on to that. They divide them into two groups. Group 1, human growth hormone. Group 2, no. And so they go on to talk about the results. Let me just give you the results of this study here. And this is from a scientific journal, folks. I'm just saying, this is not like a pop magazine. So they go through, and this is the results that they find. They're looking and they're talking about. So they said for a period of 6 months, right, in this group 1, here's what we found, right? We found 8.8% increase in lean body mass, a 14.4% decrease in what they call adipose tissue mass or adipose tissue mass, but that's bad stuff, and a 1.6% increase in average lumbar vertebrae bone density. Oh, yeah, hello. Wait. Oh, skin thickness, people over 60, hold your breath, increased 7.1%.
Oh.
There was no change in the bone density, the radius of the blah, blah, blah. Group 2, 0. Now, here's what I want to say about all this anti-aging definition and business that we're in. Somebody in some pop advertising deal gave anti-aging a definition. But let me tell you something. If I'm going to increase an 8.8% body mass, lean body mass, and I'm going to decrease bad tissue mass, and then I'm going to increase my bone density, and then I'm going to increase my skin thickness. I don't care if you don't want to call it anti-aging. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to do better. I'm going to look better. Not plastic surgery, like one of you asked me if I got plastic surgery last week. But this is why we have to talk about this differently, Joe, because we're battling articles, pop culture, people trying to sell the public a definition of anti-aging that doesn't make sense. For me, anti-aging is when I have the stamina to do something I love for 6 hours, I'm saying pretty much I reversed the clock. But let's talk about what you guys have discovered now that you've been in place for a year. What are the stories? What are people saying? Actually, I saw Lou is growing hair on his head. I saw that. But what are people saying, especially those folks that were pretty skeptical, like my best friend Linda?
Well, I got to be careful because we're not supposed to tell other people's testimonials. Because
yes, let's not. Right.
With our product, we got to be careful. But listen, I have stood face to face. I've seen people with a camera on them saying, we recorded some videos on those meetings that we did in Florida a couple weeks ago. And one person after another was just raving about how they slept and how they felt and how they recovered and their libido. And I mean, it was just one after another, like the machine gun approach, Dr. Pat. So people have fallen in love with this product. I, like you, do a lot of reading on it now. I got the product by Dr. Ronald Klatz. This is be good for some of your listeners. Grow Young with HGH. And it's funny, on page 68, there was an article about a senior group about a double-blind placebo study about seniors in nursing homes. And they become anorexic because as you start really getting up there in age, you don't want to eat. And they gave group 1 the HGH, and these folks started eating, and they put on muscle mass, and they just, they had all these positives. and the other group did nothing. They kept losing weight. So, some of the things that you're describing,
Yeah.
These were even older individuals that were in nursing homes that wouldn't eat. And as they gave them human growth hormone, they noticed how they started eating. That was an actual study. So this book, it goes through so many different things. I love reading about it, but it's the stories that have created this massive business and are drawing so many people. Now, there will be the naysayers.
Yeah.
Always going to be the naysayers. I like to say there's only a few of them. They just move around a lot.
I agree. Let's jump to talking a bit, if we could, about the science, because I love talking about the science. When folks take a look at the gel, what they're going to find is a full disclosure about why we age, how we age, what we do, and what the science is. But combined with that, I also want to talk about the product itself. The questions that I've gotten from folks have pretty much been, well, what's in it? Is it natural? Tell me about this. And I am not the expert on that. That's why you're here. And so I want to talk about this. The word that I do want to use is homeopathic. So if I could say homeopathic, then it provides some information. Can you give us a rundown, if you could, about what that means, and what this maximum strength homeopathic human growth hormone gel is about, because that's actually what it is.
Yes. Well, the first word let's tackle is homeopathic. To me, homeopathic means less is more. So homeopathy and pharmacology are worlds apart. In pharmacology, they address symptoms. And when they do it with mass amounts of medication. You could see, by the television commercials on TV, that they have to give you there's all these crazy side effects. Well, in the homeopathic, we're talking about a micro dose, a very small amount, but it's how it's delivered and how the product is arranged. So a lot of people don't realize that we all have growth hormone from the time that we're in our mother's wombs till we're born as infants, through adolescence, childhood, teenage, young adult, and then adulthood. At the age of 25, what got us to that point in life is human growth hormone. Keyword: growth. Formed our whole bodies, all of our organs, our mind, our skin, our blood. But then when we get to 25, we start declining in making of our own growth hormone. And when we get to 30, it takes a rapid dive. And we succumb to aging, Dr. Pat. It's like a flower growing out of the soil and, slowly cutting the stem at age 30. And then when you get to 50 or 60, the darn thing's lopped over. You get to 70 or 80, the flower's laying on the ground. It has no way to get nutrients. That's kind of how growth hormone, gets us to the dance. And then we slow down the making of it drastically when we hit 30, and we succumb to aging. So what we're doing, instead of giving people an injection of human growth hormone, we're applying it to our thin skin parts of our body twice a day. Once in the morning. I like to apply it after my shower in the morning, and then right before bed, I like to put my second application on, and that's how we use it. And what the product does is we're gradually restoring our growth hormone. And basically, I've heard doctors call it the healing hormone. I've heard them call it the fountain of youth. We're not supposed to say that either. Yeah. But many in Hollywood call it that, and they say what you said about it being anti-aging. I'm not supposed to say that either, but I understand your point. But the product is more than growth hormone, because in our busy lifestyles today, there's a lot of things that affect our body. Like a lot of people have thyroid issues. Well, there's two other glandulars in the gel in addition to the HGH. And one is thyroideum, which helps our thyroid run properly. And the other one is called glandular supraneus, and that helps restore our adrenal glands. Alex has taught me over the last 2 years that our adrenal glands are supposed to be about the size of a kidney bean. And most people now, they're the size of a point of a pen, because we go from here to there, to there, to there. We're always in our phone. We're going to the next thing. We're busy. We're drinking products with caffeine in them, all these energy drinks. I don't do much of that, but people expend their adrenal glands. So not only is there HGH in a homeopathic form, there's these two other glandulars in a homeopathic form, and then there's 17 botanicals. Botanicals mean the leaves of plants are literally brewed into the formula of the HGH gel, Dr. Pat. So that's the different ingredients. And what's really neat about it is when I start hearing some of the medical doctors and naturopaths make comments and say, wow, this product addresses the entire endocrine system. And all these botanicals support a healthy daily lifestyle. So they're kind of amazed. One of them even made the comment to me that there's not another product on the planet that is put together with those three homeopathic blends in there. Very, very exciting. Or ingredients, excuse me.
Yeah. And I think that's really why we want to talk about this today as well, because we're really looking at, first of all, if we're going to talk about the gel, we're also going to talk about what's in it, just like you did. But the other thing I think that's important to talk about is really looking at, why so many people have said yes to this. Because, we're dealing with a population of people in the United States that are very careful about things. And yet when folks look at how many folks are already using the gel and have signed up and are sharing the message, it's got to be, what is the expression? Proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
Because, in this country, if something doesn't work, we are so quick to really moving away from it. I think one of the things that I also want to talk to you about, and if you could talk to it, is that when we're talking about topical applications, period, and the reason I'm very familiar with this is not just about the gel, but things like CBD, when you apply it topically, right?
Yes.
We're now learning that there's a natural balance that happens from that intake, right? Unlike an injection of any kind, right? But there is a way that this works, the molecular breakdown, right? And the way that it works is so important that it really causes this even process of benefits. Isn't that what we're finding here? I mean, I know that's my experience. It's not like I woke up and could play 6 hours all of a sudden. It's over time, I noticed I could play more and more and more. And isn't that really sort of the natural way to monitor how things work?
Yeah, and that again goes back to homeopathic remedies and the way that they were designed to work. They were designed to work on the root of problems rather than just going after symptoms like a lot of pharmaceutical medications do. That's why I said they're just so many worlds apart. But with it being transdermal, it seems that more people want to try it. This is the easiest I've ever had, where people are like, yeah, I want to try the gel. And that's been amazing. And, one thing I will say, Dr. Pat, is it is a fact that, the molecule of HGH is a larger molecule. It is hard to get it to pass through the skin. And that's the beauty of our product. When you have this proprietary delivery system, Alex, working with our lab in Iowa, has found a way to get that hormone through the skin to create this balance that you're talking about. And really, I think they call it homeostasis. I mean, in the end, what HGH does is put your body back in, you said the key word, balance, to work the way God designed it to work. And that, ultimately is what the product does. And the magic of it is getting the hormone through the skin membrane. As you know, that's our largest organ. And, we just were beginning to patent the delivery system, Dr. Pat, and the entire product. We pulled the patents per our manufacturer's recommendation because we were just going to leave them patent pending.
Right.
Under the understanding that patent pending, you don't have to give up all the goods about brew time and exact specifications in the formula and how to make. But on the contrary, we found out even patent pending, you have to give up the full Monty. So basically, we would just give this product away, and it would be copied and duplicated. Lord knows how many times over.
Yeah.
We're thankful that we have it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think the reason that that's important to me is because, there's a science behind it, and especially a science when we're talking about homeopathy. I remember a study that I think it's Dr. Leon Terry did. I don't know what year it was, but what Terry did was he came out and did a study on human growth hormone. And what he said was that there's human growth hormone and then there's a homeopathy preparation for it. And so they did this study, and what they found was, the combination of human growth hormone from a homeopathic preparation, right? The results they've said was leading edge of anti-aging benefits. And the bottom line to them was that people taking the homeopathic growth hormone, same effects as the molecular GH. And I think that study was one of the first to really point to the homeopathy preparation, right?
Yeah.
So now when you carry that further and you look at homeopathy and all of the benefits of that, not only did this science article represent it, but now we're actually seeing how that can be taken in a way where people can monitor their own results.
Absolutely. Good.
Yeah, I know we have a few minutes left and probably so much to talk about. But Joe, I want to ask you, let's talk about how people are changing their lives now from this. What are you seeing? I mean, of course there are, we're talking about results in the body, the mind, et cetera. But, people seem to be excited about the fact that this is a business as well.
Well, when you believe in something, Dr. Pat, it makes it very easy to share information about a product or an experience that you've had with others. And I think people are being energized and empowered. From them being energized, they're being empowered to go out there and actually take action. The difference between dreams and reality is activity, actually taking action. And people, for some reason, are energized. The reason is the gel and using the product, and they just feel invigorated. It started to happen to me. And, my office is on the second floor of my house, and sometimes I just feel like I can jump out the window and grab a cloud. I feel so good. I'm 51 years old, Dr. Pat. I have so many injuries from wrestling and football and powerlifting. And I was so sick of getting out of bed like an 85-year-old man, posting up on the dresser, hunched over because my back hurt so bad and my knees and ankles hurt. I get out of bed like a 15-year-old kid, and I'm standing up straight, and I'm like, this is too good to be true, but I'm not going to give it up, because every morning I put my gel on. And I really believe that just the mere thought of, is this going to work? Because we have people that join, Dr. Pat, and for a week while they're waiting for their product to arrive, they recruit 3 or 4 people because they just want someone to try it with them. But when they get on the product and the product moves them, I think Americans are smart. They know that there's hundreds of companies selling all these different kinds of products. And you can get a lot of different things a lot of places.
Yeah.
But where do people get their hormones? There's only one company that has this FDA registered product with a national drug code. And that's New Life. And I think that's, where the excitement, it's multifaceted, but what we're seeing are individuals that have never had success before because of the results this product is causing, and because it's mainstream. Remember, HGH, because of how you started the article, you were talking about it being $4,000 injections. That made it taboo for so many years. Now they can get it for less than, $150. Pretty exciting, Dr. Pat.
It is. There's so much that we're going to continue to talk about as we move forward. And, there's so much more people can find out more about. One of the things I want to do is I can't thank you enough. I mean, I'm sure that you're out there, you're talking to so many people, and you're really getting firsthand stories, which we really shouldn't be talking about other people's experience. That's why we are bringing people on so they can talk about it themselves.
Yeah.
Part of this too is people want to know, where does it all begin? I know for me, I worked through my buddies Lou and Aurora, and they made this very easy for me. My main goal, I wanted to try it. I wanted to try the gel. I wanted to try it. I thought that was super important to me, as it is with so many people. Where do you see this going in a year?
I see it growing. We did about 67 million our first year. What's even better than that number, Pat, is we paid out 35 million to people. Think about that. We paid out $35 million. So I see that doubling, tripling, quadrupling, growing tenfold. I see it changing a lot of lives, is what I see it doing. I see the product affecting a lot of people. That's what I see. Very simple.
Yeah. So much here, so much to thank you for. I want to thank you very much. And also, we're going to give out lots of information for folks here, how you can find out more. Certainly, for those of you out there, we want to make sure that you do what Joe and I did. You do your research, you do your homework, you find out for yourself. I mean, you can go on and you could Google the gel. You could certainly look. There are many YouTube videos out there. We're talking to folks that want to find out more about it and try it and see. I think the end game, though, is that we learn from each other. What I hear you saying, Joe, you've learned a ton.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Last question. What's your personal message? What do you want to say to folks today?
My word for 2019 is believe.
Yeah.
Believe it can happen to you. Believe in yourself. Believe in other people. There's so many people looking for something, Dr. Pat. That's how, if there's one way I could encourage someone that's listening, is help yourself. Help yourself by getting on this product. Because one of the main things that HGH does is it helps our cognitive functions. It gives us a better outlook on life. We smile more. We get up in the morning and we're looking forward to the day rather than thinking about things that could cause depression. And then believe and take that belief and share it with other people, Dr. Pat. That's the message. We offer hope here. Okay, there's 80% of Americans are disgusted with the amount of money they make. They have these things called glass ceilings over their head with their income. I'm a 51-year-old man that's been working from home for 25 years. I've been full-time, and that's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's a blessing that Lee and I, my wife, have been able to work from home from that long, and it's because of this industry. Now we found something that we're not going to keep a secret. That's my message. Go out there, share the story, believe in yourself and believe in others, and it's amazing what can happen.
Oh, Joe, thank you so much for today. You rock. Thank you.
You rock too, Dr. Pat. You're awesome.
I know. What we're going to be doing is we need to really do more and more of these, because we are very respectful of the integrity of the company. And so we want to hear from people directly, just like you and just like me. Thank you so much, Joe. I want to thank everybody out there. Joe Juliano, everybody. You're going to hear lots more about this. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.